All right, good afternoon. It's that time again. Welcome to the Sedro Woolley Rotary Club, the greatest club in the
universe.
All right, we have an invocation from Eric today.
Lord, we ask that you bless this fellowship today, bless the work that our Rotary Club does in the community and internationally. Bless the food that we are partaking of and bless the hands that prepared it. In your name, amen.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Is it beneficial to all concerned? I can't talk today. Eric also has our song.
So, since the Mariners are doing so well, let's just do Take Me Out to the Ballpark. Take me out to the ball.
Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I ever get back home. Root for the Mariners. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the goal. All right. Do we have any visiting Rotarians? Do we have any guests of Rotarians? Louis? Hey, Louis, up here. Would you like to introduce the guests at the table? Would you like to introduce the guests at the table for me, please? Please.
Well, as most of you know, this is Marnie Fox. She's back, and I'm going to have Marnie introduce her 2 friends.
This is Bob and Linda Johnson, and you'll learn all about us and what we're here for a little bit later.
All right, thank you. Okay, so club business really quick. We passed the bylaws, so if you want to take a look at them, you can find them under club documents on Club Runner. If you need help logging into Club Runner, Sheena or myself will be more than happy to help you log in to look at those documents. Fun and Fellowship at the Fair. We have 14 tickets left. So if you contacted Christina or myself and you requested tickets, I have them if you don't already have them. And if you want some, let me know and I will get them to you. Oh, summer concert series. So we had our 3rd concert this past Sunday. If you missed Lazy Acres, you missed a really great show. They're one of my favorites. We had a huge crowd. It was awesome. And this Sunday we have our 4th and final show, Fortress of the Bear. I have never heard Fortress of the Bear, but Jeff McCann can say that they're awesome. So they're awesome. So they're going to rock out on the Riverfront Amphitheater stage this Sunday at 6. I'm not sure who's serving food besides Rockport Bar and Grill. I don't know if it's the swim team or if it's Rotaract again, but the Sedro Woolley High School swim and dive team worked their butts off this last Sunday and served burgers and cheeseburgers, and they had a line a mile long. So they worked really hard and hopefully they raised a lot of money. And then we have a board meeting on Tuesday at 5:30 at the Janicki offices. Everyone is, of course, always welcome to come. Are there any other announcements for club business? Oh, Nick has an announcement in the back.
Hey, come on. Didn't have the mic yet. We're a month out from the golf tournament, so I brought the sign-up sheet. If you know you're going to be there, all I ask is if you and your teammate are coming, if you have a spouse or significant other, just put them down for dinner. I'm starting to get a head count, so I'll pass this around. It's September 7th out at Big Lake.
All right, thank you, Nick. Any other announcements? I will add, since Nick is talking about the golf tournament, then the next weekend or the next week, September 14th, will be the world famous salmon barbecue at Riverfront. So Josh will probably have info on that coming up. So if there's no other announcements or club business, Danny has a raffle.
First number is 33. All right, thank you. Our next lucky number for today is 62. Yep. And our third and final raffle for today is 14. $5 cash. Okay.
All right. Danny's going to keep the mic because she is this week's Sergeant at Arms as well.
Today, it's just me and Eric for Team August. So for Sergeant of Arms today, as Christine was just talking about the summer concert series, we had an amazing turnout last week. So if you did attend, you only owe $1. If you did not attend the concert last week, that will be $3. So make sure to come out to the last concert this weekend.
Can somebody help Danny pick up money, please? So while they're collecting, we're going to move on to Happy Bucks. Who's happy? I will start out. I have Happy Bucks, and they're actually, they're Happy Bucks on behalf of Joelle, and she asked me, she said she was going to Venmo, so I don't know what the amount is, but she wanted me to share that the Sedro Woolley Museum is unveiling their Upper Skagit Tribe exhibit. It's going to open next, 2 Saturdays from now, on August 19th at 2 p.m. So there will also be a presentation by one of the tribal members, Scott Schuyler, and she's just really excited to be able to welcome the Upper Skagit into the museum and to share their stories. And so she wanted to make sure that you all knew about the opportunity to come and see that unveiling. So those are Happy Bucks from Joellen. So yay. Anyone else?
I get happy and a sad 20 because I missed a meeting, but I got to see my granddaughter again, first time in a year. She lives in Georgia, so yeah, I'll pay for not being here.
I have a couple of them. On Saturday, I have a granddaughter that's going to turn 6, and on Monday, a grandson who's going to turn 7. So I get to see all 5 of my grandkids on Sunday.
Right.
Happy 10 that I get to go out to the beach for 2 weeks at Ocean Shores, but sorry I get to miss the meeting.
Well, last week I made the announcement that my grandson at 17 was going to have his birthday party in our backyard pool. And I was a little bit concerned about it because something happens between 16 and 17. They brought their girlfriends. And I thought, oh boy, this is going to be show off time. And I had to give them the rules. And after they gave him the rules, my grandson said, he turned to the guys and he said, that means you run, you jump, and you bring your glass beer can up here. And I said, no, nah, no glass beer. Anyway, so I don't know what happened though, but everything went just smooth as a whistle because the girls, I think, toned them down. So it was a good time.
That's all right. That was quick. So we will move on to our program. I'm very excited that Marnie Fox is here. It's been a while since we've seen her. So Marnie, I'm going to introduce you up to the podium to present our presenters.
All right, so you all know me, and I'm going to introduce you to Bob and Linda Johnson. A friend told me about these two, and our Bob started a chapter of this RWB, and you'll get to learn all about this here in a second. We're going to show you this quick little clip that'll give you a insight to what we'll explain in further detail. And this is something that I'm totally on board with. I've hung up my stair climb boots, and this is my focus now. So you all can join me on this adventure. So clip, please.
I apologize now because I got the level up as high as I could, so you'll need to listen intently.
There's an immeasurable bond that forms when you join the service. You'll do anything to protect and defend those at your side, and pushing the limits of your well-being is all just part of the job. But when this shared experience ends, it's easy to carry that mission-first mindset with you and neglect your own health and mental fitness. Team Red, White, and Blue understands these challenges and knows that together we can show veterans that their best days are ahead by providing opportunities to build healthier lifestyles right where they live and work. Through races, service projects, workouts, and a cutting-edge mobile app, our members develop a sense of camaraderie and mutual support. With a growing force of over 200,000 strong, we invite all veterans, families, and non-military supporters to start putting their well-being first. Team Red, White, and Blue is forging America's leading health and wellness community. Will you join the team?
Obviously, they didn't show our age group up there, but yeah, this is the real, these are the people that oh, sorry. Hear me? I bet you heard me. We've been meeting at the Veterans Park off of Helmick Road. And if you haven't been there, have you all been there? Show of hands of who has gone to that park. Okay, the rest of you better go there, or next week you're going to get fined big time because it is phenomenal. There's great bathrooms. There's a great shelter. There's barbecue pits. There's a person that guards the place, a little host that lives there. She's great. And there's, I think, 7 miles right now of trail, and with more being built. And I'm going to let Bob go on from there, and we'll have answer question time. So here you go, Bob. Sure.
The first thing I need to do is get into uniform. This makes sure I don't talk too long. It's about 40 pounds on my back right now, and this is what we're carrying out there. That's not required, but if you're into working out, you want to have the weight on. And as you can see, this particular pack is made by Go Ruck for RWB, and it's got their insignia on the back. So I think that video gave you a pretty good indication of what RWB is about. Was everybody able to hear that okay? It was a little bit mumbled, but fortuitously, last week, the annual report came out on RWB for 2022. So I'm going to read that whole thing. No, I won't read the whole thing to you. I just want to mention a few of the highlights about the organization. But before I do that, a little bit about me. I'm a Vietnam vet. I served in Vietnam in 1968-69 with the AmeriCal Division in the northern part of what was then South Vietnam. We worked alongside the Marines, mostly air mobile operations, CAs into hot LZs. Most of the time, we were always very happy when it was a cool or a cold LZ. But we always knew what we were getting into if we had the gunships alongside us. They kind of gave us a pre-warning. I belong to a number of organizations, veteran-oriented. I'm a life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars, a life member of the AmeriCal Division Association, and a life member of, what's that other one there? No. Oh, VVA, Vietnam Veterans, of course, of America. I'm not used to getting up in front of people to speak, so bear with me. So I've been involved with veterans organizations, but for the most part, through my life, I've been pretty isolated as far as getting too involved until probably about 15 or 20 years ago. I had we might say, a come to Jesus moment, and found out that I was really struggling internally, mentally, and in some respects physically. I was wounded in Vietnam. I received the Bronze Star, and through that traumatic experience, I did suffer some PTS, or post-traumatic stress. And I am compensated for that now, thankfully, and also on the road to recovery. It's kind of like being an alcoholic. You never fully recover from that because it's ingrained in you, but eventually I hope to come to total peace with that. Another thing that's been significant in my life is my son. He served in Desert Storm. He is 100% disabled PTS, and so we deal with that together constantly. But this organization, actually, I went through a period here in the end of last year when a very, very important person in my life ended up in hospital and having some major surgery. And as a result of that, my stress level elevated. I started putting on weight, and eventually ended up going to a cardiologist and talking to him about what was going on in my life. And he suggested that I do a couple of things. One, cut out salt. We all know that story. Mediterranean diet, and get some exercise. And just about that same time, the Veterans Administration sent out a post on their monthly newsletter saying that there was this organization called RWB, or Romeo Whiskey Bravo, if you're in the military bent, that actually helps people to develop a more physical regimen in their lives. And so I checked it out, and it is an amazing organization. And I just want to read to you some of the highlights from the 2022 annual report. There are now about 257,000 members of this organization across the US. I have to mention that in Washington State, we're kind of at the back end of all of this movement because it started on the East Coast and it's moving out this direction. But just to give you an idea of how well we're recognized, they started their Old Glory relay this year in Seattle. And it went down the coast to LA and then across the country to Atlanta, Georgia. They carried a flag that was flown in Iraq all the way across the country. And thousands of veterans and military and supporters were involved in that. Last year, they had 10,314 new veteran military members, and a total new membership of 14,778. So it's growing at a fairly rapid rate. And then that difference between those two is the civilian helpers. And we thank God every day for people like Marnie that'll come out and encourage us on that trip. We have about 1,041 volunteers, of which I'm one. If anyone wants more information after the meeting, I have my business card with me and I'd be happy to get in touch with you. 61% of the people in the organization are male, 39% are female. There's things that we do that keep us engaged physically and mentally. They call those engagements. And last year they logged 228,995 engagements. Of those, 17,065 were actual events or activities, and those break down by physical, service, and social. There were over 13,000 physical engagements. That's going out and carrying one of these. It's called a ruck, by the way, for those that aren't military. Service engagements were 848 and 2,257 social engagements. So they're getting the veterans out of those rooms where they're playing games and in the bars and wherever else you might find veterans these days that aren't engaged. And they're getting them out on the roads and doing physical activities and also helping with their mental well-being through that. When I look into an organization, I always like to know, especially a nonprofit, I like to know how they're rated. And the Team RWB has a 4-star Charity Navigator rating. They also are accredited charity for the Better Business Bureau, and Candid rates them as a platinum member for accountability and transparency. So they've got a very high rating. And the thing that's really easy about this organization to be involved with is all you have to do to sign up is to download an app. When you download the app, you're signed up. No cost to the veteran. And of course, donations are always welcome, but that's not a requirement. So that's really easy to do. And the other thing that I like to look at is who's involved with these organizations. It's who you associate with that really tells the story about who you are. And I just want to list just a few of the corporate partners for this group. One that I'll list right at the top because they've already stepped up locally here to say, if we have an event and we need coffee, Starbucks will provide it. Starbucks is one of our lead sponsors. The Wounded Warrior Project, Airbus, PayPal, CVS, Bank of America. As you can tell, these are not the low-end partners. These are the people that really can wield some influence. And there's dozens of these companies. And if you're interested in finding out more about them, I just recommend that you check out their annual report. It's got all that information in it. I don't know how much time I've taken or how much time we have left. We're good? Okay. I just want to give you an idea of what this organization does on a day-to-day basis. As Marnie mentioned, we meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9 o'clock. We put on our rucksacks. Can you hear me okay? No? Okay. Can I take it with me? Okay, we take our rucksacks and we go down to the Veterans Plaza, and we actually start our ruck with a prayer. So we say a short prayer, and then we head down the trails. And we log our miles, and we also log our pace. There's 3 things that come into play. It's the amount of weight you're carrying, how far you go with that weight, and the time that you do it in. So the goal is to be able to do it as far and as long as possible with in the least amount of time. I have a big fitness goal to encourage everybody that's involved, that's interested in developing their physical capabilities. And I have to also mention that I'm 76 years old, so I'm no spring chicken here. And so I have a big fitness goal that on the Veterans Day 2023, I'm going to walk from the Veterans Plaza to Lyman and back with this on my back. That's what I did 55 years ago at the age of 22. And so if I can do that, and I'm halfway there already, I'm doing 6 miles fairly regularly with this on, and 6 miles is the distance from the Veterans Plaza to Lyman. So all I got to do is get back now. And so really encourage anybody who wants to support us in that to come out and cheer or whatever. It's going to be on Veterans Day, November 11th, 2023. We have a bunch of people that are already signed up to be along the trail or to walk with us or to bike with us or whatever, just to get the concept of getting veterans out and doing stuff on the forefront. That's our main goal. And another event, or I guess you call it event. It's actually a monthly mission. Every month we get a mission assigned to us. And this month, the month of August, I don't know if any of you know this, but on August the 7th, this coming Monday, is Purple Heart Day, Purple Heart Recognition Day. There's been, since the inception of the actual Purple Heart, it was actually originated by George Washington during the Revolutionary War, but it actually came into being as an actual medal in 1932. And since then, 1.8 million servicemen and women have been awarded the Purple Heart, many of those posthumously. So it's a significant award, and I don't know if you've ever seen one or received one, but you get a little display thing. Oops. I don't know if people can see that back there or not, but you're welcome to come up and take a look at it later if you'd like. Can we get that on the camera maybe? It's a beautiful medal, and it's heavy. I don't know if it's weighted on purpose or what. They want to wound you again. That was awarded to me as a result of an action on 22 March 1969 in Vietnam. So we're going to go out and we're going to do a ruck walk. We're going to walk half-mile distances and then do 18 burpees, if you know what those are. We're doing a modified burpee because we have weight on our backs. So we're not going to be jumping. And then we're going to do as many of those as we can, half-mile plus 18 burpees in 1 hour. We just did a practice this morning. Marnie was out there with me, and we had 5 people doing it. We did five rounds. So we got credit for 25 combinations of 0.5 mile and burpees. So that's a typical one. Next month is going to be September, of course, and so there's going to be a September 11th stair climb challenge. And every month there's something new to remember. Linda and I have already done several of these, and it's kind of a memorable experience because you get a group of people together, you get the camaraderie, you get the accomplishment of a goal, which is important, and you end up with feeling good about yourself and about what you're doing. And with that, I'm going to bring my wife up. She's been the the treasure of my life. And I'm just going to let her say a few words because she is the wife of a essentially disabled veteran, if you want to call me that. That doesn't even seem right. And also the mother of our son, who is also a disabled veteran. So here's Linda.
Well, as Bob said, I'm the wife of a Vietnam veteran, and my son was in Desert Storm. And both of them came home feeling, I think, like no one in civilian life really understood what they had experienced. And it was, I think, something they couldn't really explain. And so they kind of went into a shell, I guess you would say, or had behaviors that they did not have before they went into the military and ended up in war. So when I heard about this organization and Bob got involved with it, I thought, wow, that is a great idea to get veterans out there in the outdoors doing things that they actually in the military, they really developed physically their skills, but when they come back into society, often they isolate and they do not do the kind of physical activity they were trained to do in the service. So the goal of this organization is to get these people coming back involved in goals that will build their physical strength as well as a camaraderie that builds social and emotional and just general mental health. So Bob, when he came back, he was 23, 24, and he actually had, I remember him telling me that he was in Seattle and there was a car that backfired and he fell to the ground because he had been so instinctively hit by that sound that he had, heard in Vietnam. So he's done very well in life. He got over most of these things, but he tells me that he never will. There always are, there's dark places of memories that he's had. And our son has had more of a struggle, but he too has climbed back out of that place. So I'm just really excited that Marnie's helping us out with this goal and hoping that Washington will spread the word that there is an organization across the nation that wants to help returning veterans get healthy and stay healthy. Bob his blood pressure's gone way down since he stopped using salt and having a good diet. And he looks slim, but he did lose how many? Lost 30 pounds. So anyway, I think what I'd like to say is spread the word if you know veterans and family members of veterans about this organization and look it up online and also join us if you're interested.
And that's a great segue. I just happen to have one of our posters. If you know of a place where we can put these up, do get in touch with me and I can have more of these made up. It explains the basic premise for the organization. It's got the QR code so that people can download real easily and find out more about the organization. And with that, I think we can probably open up to questions.
Okay, we were going to have our state representative here, but he got in a car accident. And so he wasn't able to make it. So we would like to come back maybe in the winter and do it again with the state representative there. And as you saw in the film, that you can take this as far as you want or be as laxadoodle as you want. That's my weighted vest there. I thought Bob said we had to carry 50 pounds. So I was like, oh my word, I got to work up to this. And he goes, I didn't say that. And I'm like, oh, I'm taking weight out. So 30 pounds.
35 is considered
Yeah.
a heavy rock.
So 35 is a lot better than the 50 pounds. And if you want to come and just sit with water and coffee as we come and go, that's a great thing too. But if the main thing is, if each one of you would tell one other person and they would spread the news that every Thursday and Tuesday at 8 a.m., we're at that park, ready to walk around. And 6 miles with a buddy goes real fast. 6 miles on a treadmill is terrible, absolutely terrible. So time flies. So any questions?
Not so much a question, but in correlation with the topic of today's, your group here, on Saturday, Andy Mitchell and the Vietnam Veterans of America organization are hosting a picnic at Andy's compound up on North Fruitdale Road. He's having a car show and an open picnic. Veterans eat free, an awesome prime rib lunch dinner. That starts 11-ish, noonish, and runs all afternoon. He's got live music. The public is welcome to come. Car show throughout the day, but the picnic and the music start early afternoon and things, and everyone is welcome. So encourage your organization to come up and start passing information around and maybe get some assistance with those people up there too. So it could be a good day and a good opportunity to get some people to assist in your program.
I think he's also got a Jolly Green Giant up there too that he brought in. I don't know where he found that, but.
I have two questions. One is, how long have you been doing it? If you said it, I missed it. And how many people do you have now help working out? Was it just 5 or 6, or do you have more? And then for your wife, you got to give us a little more. You had 2, your husband and your son, both injured in combat. Tell us a little bit more about that, if you would.
Okay, as far as the first question, I think it was how long have I been doing this? It started in March. So all that weight and the change in my physiology has happened since March. I don't know if you know about the rucking idea, but it's something that's kind of hitting the nation by storm now. There's actually organizations that are supporting just rucking for everybody. And if you carry the weight that I'm carrying for 1 mile, you get the equivalent cardiovascular exercise that you would get if you were running that mile. So putting the weight on the back, it's a lot easier on your joints because you're not banging along on your joints. And so you're walking with the weight. And that's much better. What was the second part of that one? Oh, yeah, she's the one who actually has a bigger part of the story here, I think.
I'm not sure what you want me to say. Oh. Well, so I'm not kidding when I say that the war experience, Bob was out in the combat, the face-to-face combat. It takes a hit on your soul. And I didn't know that. And I'm the second wife. So the first wife probably had it harder than I did, but I just know I love Bob, and I know his heart is really kind and gentle and good. And I just think that the war experience is just something that we who have not been to war don't get. So in answer to your question, I've learned, they've shared with me, my son and my husband, quite a bit. So I've learned about war, and I never would have otherwise. So Bob's changed over the years, and a lot of it has been his own motivation. And he got the GI Bill, and he graduated from university, and he's worked hard his whole life. He's retired now. So he overcame, but I don't know if everyone who returns has that that kind of resolve. So I guess it's kind of been a rocky road because he would have anger issues and I don't know. I guess I've forgotten a lot of it because we've had so many wonderful years. My son, he's struggling still, but so it's been for him 20 years, maybe. Desert Storm. He isolated and became obese and just was a different person. Not the kid I knew. And he lost, I think, 150 pounds and just turned his life around in the last 5 years or so. So I think probably the hardest thing was our son, that he wasn't the same anymore. I don't know I'm not sure if I answered your question. I have a good life, but I totally believe in helping veterans, and I really believe that the out of doors and exercise super good for all over all the different kinds of health.
And there's 6 of us that go religiously, and then we have people that come and go visit, you know, so I don't know how many. Yeah. And I only hear 5 minutes. And you can hear whatever we do.
Marnie, I'm curious what draw you, you to the organization and how your involvement started with it.
I had a friend that's a friend there. She's like, you want to go rucking? And I'm like, what's rucking? And she explained it to me. And I'm like, I'm not a veteran. And she goes, you don't have to be. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then that's how I met them. And well, I think I met you at a dinner first, but then I met them again. And we just and then I told Richard, I said, hey, Richard, you can do this. This is fun. We're just walking around the park. And I had already had the weighted vest from the fire. So I just took that with, and then you just tell more people, and it builds. And I'm telling you, we've had a little rough spot in our life with a veteran, and, you know, being in a big circle, sharing problems, you know, they get it when some people might not get what you're going through. So it's good for your mental health and your physical health, and it's just community. That's what this is all about, community. It's just a different kind of community. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, just to elaborate a little more on what Marnie just said, one of the big things is the camaraderie that's involved. And this is going out with common goals, common mission to achieve it together. And it helps your mental attitude, it helps you physically. There's just so much benefit that comes from just getting out. And there's a lot of veterans that will isolate. They'll go to a dark spot. It might be just in their home. They're gaming or whatever, and or to a bar or what have you, and that's usually the sign that things are going downhill. That's what happened to our son when he started going to that dark spot. He was headed down, and thank God he was able to pull himself up by his bootstraps. He's got his shirt. He just had knee surgery, so he's not out rucking with us right now. But, we're looking forward to having.
And so Bob started this chapter here in Sedro Woolley in March. And so, you know, if you look at it that way, hey, we're doing good. It started with him. And it's now recognized as a chapter, or do we need a little bit more for a chapter?
Well, we need a little bit more for an official chapter. When they see probably a dozen people coming out on a regular basis, then they'll form a regular chapter up here. Of that 278,000 people across the nation, there's only about 1,500 in Washington State. So we've got lots of room to grow, lots of military in this area, lots of Navy. There's probably Navy in this room. So opportunities are out there, and active duties involved as well. Reserves, Guard, all works.
And he did put the Monday's event on the app, and it was nationwide advertised
Yeah.
that Sedro Woolley's got this event going on
Sedro Woolley
Monday.
is on the national map for RWB.
Yeah, so that's kind of exciting. We're on the map. We're using that park. It's something to be proud of. I mean, that park is awesome. Not many people, there's a chapter down in Marysville and they just walk around the neighborhood. They don't have a cool place like that. So we're trying to get the state guy up here to check it out and and have some events up here and utilize that because it's awesome.
I'm a life member of the Vietnam Veterans of America here in Sedro Woolley, or this area. And I know every time that we have a meeting and we ask for volunteers to do something, they're very reluctant to join in. How difficult is it to get someone of the type of person you've been talking about to actually participate?
Well, that's a very good question. The whole thing about RWB is it's a motivation. In the military, we're taught to mission first. You do whatever it takes to get that mission accomplished. What RWB encourages is to look to yourself as the mission first. So it's taking care of yourself both physically and mentally. And once somebody catches on to that, then there's just some amazing testimonials. Some of them are in the annual report, and you can find them online as well at teamrwb.org. Some just amazing things that have happened, particularly with the young vets coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, where they had multiple tours. So it wasn't just one tour like many of us in Vietnam, although we came back to a very negative society. They had multiple tours, multiple exposures, and trauma builds on itself. Studies have shown that if you had trauma in your childhood, you're more susceptible to military trauma engagement. So it's something that builds. Does that answer your question?
Okay, if there's no other questions, thank you, Bob and Marnie and Linda. And Marnie probably knows, but Bob and Linda, if you've never been to one of our Sedro Woolley Rotary meetings, we give out a very coveted gift to all of our speakers. It's the world famous Rotary pen. So I don't know how you're gonna utilize it on your rucks, but you can add a little bit of weight to it. Okay. So again, thank you, Bob and Linda and Marnie for coming. That's great. I like that the RWB goes with not only physical, but mental health because Rotary this year, our theme is Create Hope in the World, and our international president is very passionate about mental health awareness and taking care of your whole body and mind. So that's great, and I can't wait. I'm hoping that I can come out. My mom is a veteran, so I would love it if she could join you, and my brother is as well. So thank you. Summer concert this Sunday. I believe that there's a Sedro Woolley School Foundation concert Saturday. What is the Veterans Picnic? Saturday, there's a Veterans Picnic off of Fruitdale Road. 20, so just go to turn left on Fruitdale and okay, so there's lots of great things going on this weekend in Sedro Woolley. So if there are no other announcements for the good of the order, I'm going to finish with my joke because I know that's why you all stayed. Okay, so a tough old cowboy from Texas counseled his granddaughter that if she wanted to live a long life, the secret was to sprinkle a pinch of gunpowder in her oatmeal every morning. The granddaughter did this religiously until the age of 103, when she died. She left behind 14 grandchildren, 30 grandchildren, 45 great-grandchildren, 25 great-great-grandchildren, and a 40-foot hole where the crematorium used to be.